Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn about the formulation factors for the drug absorption. In that formulation factors, we will initially look which are the different formulation factors that will affect the drug absorption. In that, first disintegration time, mostly for tablets and capsules, then dissolution time, then manufacturing variables, then pharmaceutical ingredients, it means pharmaceutical excipients and adjuvants, then nature and type of dosage forms, and lastly product age and storage conditions. Okay, these are the various factors that will affect the drug absorption. Now firstly we will look towards the disintegration time. Now in case of disintegration time, it is very important factor with respect to your drug absorption, because disintegration time is directly related with your rate of absorption. Okay, means there is a change. If there is a change in disintegration time, ultimately it will reflect in your change in absorption time. Okay, then rapid disintegration time is important to have rapid absorption, so lower disintegration time is required. Means if your dosage form like tablets and capsule will have lower disintegration time, then the chances of its dissolution in a GI tract will be higher, and ultimately it will impact on your drug absorption. Now disintegration time of tablet is directly proportional to amount of binder. This is important. Disintegration time will always directly proportional with amount of binder. Higher the amount of binder, higher will be the disintegration time. And compression force, higher the compression force you have used, higher will be the disintegration time of your tablets. Okay, and one thing should be remembered, that in vitro disintegration test gives no means of guarantee of drug viability, because if disintegration drug particle do not dissolve, then absorption is not possible. Means one cannot rely only on a disintegration time. Okay, once disintegration is possible, though the disintegration will be higher, if that particular drug particle do not have any solubility in your GI tract, then also that particular drug will not give you a good absorption. Means it is one of the formulation factor, but it is not, we can say it will totally increase your drug absorption. Okay, then coated tablet, especially sugar coated ones, have longer disintegration time. Okay, if you are doing a coating, especially sugar coating, then it will have longer disintegration time. Then we'll start with second factor, that is manufacturing variable. Okay, in that, first manufacturing process, and second excipients or adjuvants we are using in a manufacturing process. Now in case of tablet and capsules, majorly the manufacturing processes are method of granulation and compression force. These two methods will impact on your drug absorption. Now in that, first we will look towards the method of granulation. Now weight granulation, method of granulation, all of you know that which are the different methods of granulation. In that, first weight granulation, it yields a tablet that dissolves faster than those made by the other granulating method. Means whatever the tablets we are preparing by weight granulation, they generally dissolves faster than the tablets you have prepared by other methods. But weight granulation has several limitations, but still weight granulation has several limitations, like formation of crystal bridge, then chemical degradation due to presence of liquid, then drying step may harm the thermolabile drug, and also the method involve large number of steps. Okay, that is the limitations. Which are the limitation? Formation of crystal bridge, then chemical degradation, then thermolabile drugs we cannot will get degraded during the drying of weight granules. Okay, this is the first method of granulation. Then other superior recent method called as a agglomerative phase of communication, which involves grinding of basic drug in ball mill and produce micronized drug, which undergoes spontaneous agglomeration, which then can be punched with a little addition of dry excipient. The tablet of this method stronger and show rapid dissolution. Okay, this is the superior method if you want to increase the dissolution rate of your tablet, that is agglomerative phase communication method. Then stronger and show the stronger dissolution, and the reason attributed to it was the increase in the internal surface area of the granule and prepare result in a higher dissolution. Then second factor in that is compression force. The compression force may employ in a tableting process influence the day. Okay, influence density, porosity, hardness, disintegration time and dissolution of tablet, and ultimately these factors will impact on your drug absorption. Now what happen in compression force? Specifically we are increasing this, we are using compression force at the time of manufacturing of tablets, and in that case when we are go on increasing the compression force, the tablets will get we can say its mass will become more and more compact, and it will result in a different dissolution result. Which are these? Suppose if you are using higher compression force, okay, what it will implies, it increases the density and hardness of your tablet and decreases the porosity, and hence penetrability of solvent into the tablet retards the wettability. All of you know that for breaking of tablet, disintegrants will play a vital role. Okay, but if disintegrant has to show its action, it has to come in a contact with any solvent. Then and then it will get swell and burst, and then it will we can say break our tablet or disintegrate our tablet. But whenever we are using higher compression force, what it will implies, it will increase the density and hardness of your tablet. Just imagine if we are compressing, last year also we have prepared a tablet, in that when we are increasing a compression force, okay, tablet will become more harder. Why it will become more harder? Because whatever its we can say porosity is there, it will go, means there is no void spaces remain. Okay, and due to no void spaces, there is no entrapment or no penetrability of solvent molecules, and your disintegrant will never come in contact with solvent, and it will not get wet, and ultimately your tablet will not get disintegrate. Okay, that's why higher compression force is plays a vital role in your absorption also. Now look at this figure. In that figure you can observe that on x-axis we are saying that compression force, and on y-axis on dissolution rate. Okay, look at this figure. Okay, x-axis compression force, y-axis dissolution rate. Okay, now when there are four conditions in case of higher compression force, four conditions will happen with the dissolution and compression force. When initially, this is normal condition, when we go on increasing of compression force, rate of dissolution go on decreasing according to this statement. Okay, whatever this our first statement, according to this you will get this type of graph. When we are go on increasing the compression force, the rate of dissolution go on decreasing. Why? Because tablet will become more harder and there is no penetrability. Okay, now in second condition, further we go on increasing, still we are going on increasing, then it will cause the deformation, crushing or fracture of the drug particles into the smaller one, or convert the spherical granule into disc particles with a large increase in effective surface area, and leads to increase in dissolution. When further we go on increasing, what happen now? The tablet will become crack. Okay, it has a crack some. Then if granules are spherical, it will get converted into disc shape. It will increases the effective surface area and ultimately increase the rate of dissolution. Okay, you will get this type of graph in this second condition. Okay, now what will happen when we use higher compression force? Then the tablet will get crushed, and there will be a we can say channels for the penetrability of solvent, and also the effective surface area of your tablet will also get increased, and that, due to what, that increasing compression force will increases the dissolution time. This is the second condition. Then sometimes you will observe mixed condition. Mixed condition means initially you will find decrease in dissolution rate, and after fracture, this is yield point, after fracture it will again increases the dissolution rate. That is the mixed condition in case of third case C. And last case you can also observe sometimes this, because initially if your tablet is having higher compaction, the dissolution rate will be your tablet is loose compaction, dissolution rate will be go on increasing, and when the compaction is more, then the dissolution rate again go on decline. Okay, these are the various conditions of compression force which will affect the drug we can say dissolution, and ultimately you know that dissolution is directly proportional with your rate of with your absorption of drugs. Then pharmaceutical ingredients, excipients. Now how the excipient plays a vital role in a absorption of your drug. More the number of excipient in dosage form, more the complex it is, and greater potential of absorption and viability problems. If you are using more number of excipients, then more problem will be arise. Okay, commonly used excipient in various dosage form or vehicle, binder, diluent, etc. These are the just examples. There are number of excipients we are using in a pharmaceutical dosage forms. Now firstly we will look towards the vehicle. Okay, whatever the vehicle we are using, the rate of absorption depends on its miscibility with biological fluid. Okay, that is important. Means whatever the vehicle, generally mostly in case of liquids we are using water. Okay, so that it is miscible and it will give you a rapid absorption. Okay, it will give you rapid absorption. It will give you rapid absorption, depends on this partitioning from oil phase and aqueous body. Mostly we are using in case of liquid water miscible vehicles. Okay, then secondly diluents. These are generally used in a we can say tablets also, sometimes in solutions also. Okay, then organic hydrophilic diluent from the hydrophilic coat around the hydrophobic drug particles. Thus they promote the dissolution and absorption of poorly soluble hydrophobic drugs. Example is a starch and lactose. This is in case of tablets. Okay, what diluents actually do? These are organic hydrophilic diluents from the hydrophilic coat. They will form the hydrophilic coat. Okay, this diluent will form hydrophilic coat around the hydrophobic drug particles and thus promote the dissolution and absorption of poorly soluble drug. Okay, then non-organic, like example is dicalcium phosphate, DCP, that will leads to a poor absorption. Okay, due to formation of complexation. Okay, then next, binders and granulating agent. All of you know that binder having a ability binder is having a ability to bind the particles so that their binding will be more, and the hydrophilic binders such as starch, gelatin and PVP, these are important. They will play a vital role in your direct heavy impact on your dissolution and ultimately on your absorption, imparting hydrophilic properties to granule surface, better dissolution of poorly wettable drugs. Example phenacetin. Okay, this is the example by which the drug absorption will get altered, that is phenacetin. More amount of binder increases the hardness of your tablet. All of you know that in last year also we have seen, and decreases the dissolution and disintegration time. We also did one practical on this in last year. Then disintegrant, mostly hydrophobic in nature. Disintegrants are mostly hydrophobic in nature, and then decrease in amount of disintegrants significantly lowers the viability. Okay, higher the disintegrants will be significantly higher will be the bioavailability and absorption. Lower the disintegrant concentration, lowers the viability. Then lubricant, commonly hydrophobic in nature. Okay, generally lubricants are hydrophobic in nature, therefore inhibits the penetration of water into a tablet and thus dissolution and disintegration. Means due to their hydrophobic nature, lubricants will prevent water from entrapment into the tablet or entry into the tablet, and thus dissolution and disintegration will also get altered. That's why lubricant will, we can say, lowers the disintegration and dissolution rate, and ultimately it will lowers the absorption rate. Now mostly important is the surfactant, mostly used in a other formulating agent like suspension and emulsions, widely used in a formulation as a weighting agent and solubilizer. Okay, their effect on absorption is very complex. Okay, they may enhance or retard the drug absorption by interacting with the drug membrane or both. Okay, now in case of surfactant, sometimes it will increase the absorption by promoting of weighting, better membrane contact of a drug and for absorption, enhance membrane permeability of the drug. Okay, and sometimes it will also decreases the absorption. The reasons are formation of unabsorbable drug micelle complexes, or we can say irreversible drug micelle complexes will also decrease the rate of absorption. And lastly, laxative action in a large concentration. When we are taking a drug in a surfactant in your formulation is in higher concentration, it will give you laxative action, and due to that there is a less absorption of these drugs. Then colorants, even low concentration of water soluble dye can have inhibitory effect on dissolution rate and several crystalline drug. Means colorant will also play a lowers your dissolution and absorption rate even in a low concentration. The dye molecule get absorbed on a crystal faces. How it will lowers the absorption? It will get absorbed on the crystal faces and inhibit the drug dissolution. Okay, by this mechanism the dye molecules get absorbed on the crystal faces and inhibit the drug dissolution. Example is brilliant blue retards dissolution of sulfathiazole. Okay, this is the important one. Now next factor is nature and type of dosage form. Which are the different types of dosage form will have different we can say absorption. Okay, different absorption rate. Their absorption will depend which the absorption of drug will depend which type of dosage form you are manufacturing. In that, first we will look towards the tablets. In that tablets, you can observe initially tablet disintegrates in your, we can say, GIT and convert into a granules. After conversion into a granules, it will again degraded. These granules will again deaggregates, okay, and form a fine particles. Okay, after formation of fine particles, it will get dissolved now. Okay, after dissolution, then drug goes in a solution. Okay, and then drug will cross your biomembrane and enter into a systemic circulation. Okay, why different dosage form have different absorption ability, that I am going to explain by this animation. Then secondly, capsules. Now in a capsules, again dissolution of shell, whatever the gelatin shell will get dissolved, then it will, the granules inside the capsule will get emptied in your, will get into your stomach. Then these granules again disintegrate, again deaggregate into a fine particles. This fine particle get dissolved, then again drug goes in a solution and drug goes in a systemic circulation through a biomembrane. Okay, then this is the third part. If your dosage form is a powder, now what will happen in a powder? Instead of going it in a granules, it will initially go directly in a fine particles, right? Means powders directly goes into a fine particles. When it will reach into your GI tract, then it will get dissolved and drug goes in a solution. Again drug reach in your systemic circulation, okay, or drug reach in your blood. Then next dosage form is a suspension. Suspension contains a one aqueous phase, one liquid phase and one solid phase. The solid phase generally is in a fine particle, so that when we take a suspension, it will directly available in your stomach in a fine particle state. These fine particles now get dissolved. Then this dissolved fine particles goes in a solution, and then it will reach to the blood circulation or your blood plasma through biomembrane. Okay, then next one is emulsion. Now emulsion is a biphasic again, but both the phases are liquid, so that there is no presence of fine particles, so that when we are administering dissolution, drug will get directly dissolved. Emulsion, then drug will directly get dissolved, then it is available in a solution form and drug will get absorbed. Now lastly, solutions. Okay, in case of solution, it's a single phase. Whatever your drug is solubilized in a particular solvent, and drug is available directly. When we are taking it, it is directly available in a solution form and it will get rapidly absorbed. Okay, now order of rate of absorption is depend on this, that is a faster. Okay, means solution will have a highest absorption rate as compared to the tablet, capsule, powder, suspension and emulsion. Okay, and tablets will have generally slow absorption rate as compared to the solution. Okay, this is the use or nature of dosage form. Why we are using nature of dosage form? That will have a different steps to reach systemic circulation. In case of tablets, it has to follow number of steps. Okay, but the solution has to follow only one step, that is crossing only biomembrane. That is the reason why different dosage form will show you different absorption properties. Then next and last factor in case of formulation factor, that is product age and storage condition. Okay, a number of changes especially in the physicochemical properties of drug. A number of changes in physicochemical properties of drug in a dosage form can result into aging and alteration of storage condition which adversely affect the viability of drug. Example, precipitation of drug in a solution, then change in particle size of suspension and hardening of tablet. Means upon storage for longer duration, there might be a precipitation of drug in solution, that if your drug is in a solution form, then change in particle size if it is in a suspension form, and in a solid dosage form, tablet may become hard. Okay, so that due to that product age, more age will also alter the absorption of your drugs. Okay, this is all about the we can say formulation factors, or it is also called as a pharmaceutical factors. Okay, all of you understood this? Yes or no? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now today again last point of your drug absorption, factors of affecting in drug absorption, that we are going to start with the physiological factors. Now whatever the factors we have looked in a previous two lectures, okay, it is mostly depend on the factors that will affected whatever we are doing outside our body. But when we are taking a drug, some factors depends on our physiology of our body, that will also alter the physiological, or that will also alter the absorption of your drug. These factors are called as a physiological factors. Now which are these factors? The first is age of your age, then gastric emptying time, then third intestinal transit time, then gastrointestinal pH, then disease state, then blood flow through GIT, then gastrointestinal content like food drug interaction, fluids, other normal GI contents, then pre-systemic metabolism. Okay, there are various we can say enzymes, that is luminal, gut wall enzyme, bacterial or hepatic enzymes, that will alter the absorption rate of your drug. Pre-systemic metabolism is also called as a first pass metabolism. Now we will start with one by one. Firstly, age. Okay, in children and infant, gastric pH is always remain high, so that as compared to the we can say pH partition hypothesis, the change in pH will alter the rate of absorption, so that in case of children and infant, the absorption is different as compared to elderly or younger persons. The intestinal surface and blood flow to GIT is low, resulting in altered drug absorption pattern in a comparison to the adults. Okay, now in case of children and infants, generally the blood flow, whatever their GI tract is under, or GIT, gastrointestinal tract, is under development, so that it is not fully developed, and the blood flow to this GIT is very low as compared to the adults, so that it will show different absorption pattern compared with the adults. In elderly patient, generally cause of impaired drug absorption. Okay, elderly means whoever the old persons, there are generally impaired drug absorption. The reason is thus alter gastric emptying, means whatever the gastric emptying time is there, it will get altered upon age. Then decrease in intestinal surface area, the surface area of intestine goes decrease when the age will increases. The decrease in gastric blood flow and higher incidence of achlorhydria and bacterial overgrowth in a small intestine. Okay, achlorhydria condition is very common in a elderly person, and bacterial overgrowth. Due to these reasons, the absorption will get altered in case of elderly patients. Okay, then second, gastric emptying time. Okay, this is very important because every year again there is a question on gastric emptying time and intestinal transit time. Okay, now gastric emptying time means what? It is a time which will clear your content of stomach into the intestine, means whatever the time required to empty your stomach into an intestine, that particular time is called as a gastric emptying time. The passage of a stomach to small intestine is called as a gastric emptying time, and it is normally is about 1 to 5 hours. Okay, normal gastric emptying time is 1 to 5 hour. The rate limiting step in absorption, because the major site of absorption is in the intestine. Okay, in the first lecture also we have seen while looking at the pH of various locations or various parts of our GIT, we have discussed that the major absorption site is your intestine because of its large surface area. So that gastric emptying time is a rate limiting step for the absorption, because faster the gastric emptying, faster will be the absorption of your drug, as it will very fastly get available in your intestine for the absorption. Okay, then rapid gastric emptying time is advisable where we need a rapid gastric emptying time in a case of rapid, if we require rapid onset of action. Okay, the example is a sedative. Okay, in case of sedative we will require rapid rate of absorption. In that case we can do the rapid gastric emptying. Then drugs which are not stable in a gastric fluid. Okay, if your drug is unstable in a gastric fluid like gastric HCl, example is penicillin G, in that case also rapid gastric emptying is advisable. Then dissolution occur in the intestine. Okay, example is enteric coated tablet, that also we have seen in a last year also. Okay, in enteric coated tablets, generally the drug which are remain unstable in a gastric acidic condition, in that case these tablets should get enter into intestine as early as possible, so that rapid gastric emptying time is advisable. Then the drug is best absorbed from distal part of small intestine, example vitamin B12. Though some drugs are there which are only get absorbed from distal part of your small intestine, like vitamin B12. In that case also rapid gastric emptying time is advisable. Then next, for better drug dissolution and absorption, the gastric emptying can be promoted by taking a drug on an empty stomach. Mostly it is advisable sometimes that for better drug dissolution and absorption, the gastric emptying can promote by the taking drug on an empty stomach. Many times you can observe that. Okay, doctor have told you that take this particular medicine before 2 hours of lunch, before 3 hours of lunch, or before lunch. Okay, that is the reason. It will promote the gastric emptying and improve the absorption of your drug. Then gastric emptying of drug is delayed by co-administrating with food, because unless the gastric content are fluid enough or size of the solid particles is reduced below 2 mm, its passage through the polyurus into the intestine is not possible. Means whatever the gastric emptying of drug, how we can delay it by administrating, means it will get delayed because of food, because unless the gastric emptying content are fluid, if your food is not fluid or its size is not less than 2 mm, then gastric emptying will take more time. Okay, if it is in that range, if it is a fluid and its size is less than 2 mm, then it will easily get gastric emptied. Now delay, sometimes we need a delay also in a gastric emptying is recommended, where the food promotes the drug dissolution and absorption. Example, grisofulvin. When we are taking grisofulvin with the food, it will show you a better absorption. Okay, so that we can delay the gastric emptying. In that case the drug dissolves slowly. Okay, example is again grisofulvin. Then disintegration and dissolution of dosage form is promoted by gastric fluids. Okay, in that case we can use this. Then drugs are absorbed from proximal part of small intestine, means initial part of your intestine. Example is vitamin B2. In that case also we can delay the gastric emptying. Several parameters used to quantify gastric emptying. How we can characterize gastric emptying? For that we need to consider this definition: gastric emptying rate, that is speed at which stomach contents empties into the intestine. We can call it as a gastric emptying. Then gastric emptying time, the time required for the gastric content to empty into the small intestine, it is called as a gastric emptying time. The next factor affecting on gastric emptying time. Now these are the gastric emptying, but gastric emptying will also depend on certain factors. Some factors we discussed in a previous slide. We'll look again one by one factor. First factor is the volume of your meal. Okay, the volume of your meal is large, the bulk of meal. If your milk is large, then longer the gastric emptying is possible. Okay, the gastric emptying will take a longer time. Okay, that is the reason the volume of meal affect your gastric emptying. Then composition of meal, emptying rate, carbohydrates, then proteins and fat. Carbohydrates easily get emptied into a intestine than proteins, and proteins than a fats. Means highest emptying rate is of carbohydrates, then protein, and then fats. Delayed gastric emptying with the fatty metal is beneficial for the absorption of poorly soluble drugs like greasophulin. Okay, then physical state of and viscosity of meal. Liquid less than hour. Okay, if your physical state, okay, physical state means whether your food is or meal is liquid, semi solid, solid. Okay, depending on that its emptying will be the alter. If your food is liquid, if you are taking suppose a juice of fruit juice, then it will less than 1 hour it will get easily emptied in your intestine. If it is solid, it will take 6 to 7 hours to completely get emptied into the intestine. Viscous more than less viscous. Okay, if your viscous food will require more time than the less viscous generally food. Then temperature. Okay, high or low temperature of intestinal fluid in comparison with the body temperature reduces the gastric emptying. Okay, means if you are emptying whatever the temperature of your intestine or stomach, if it is high or low, okay, in both the cases it will go on decreasing your gastric emptying. Okay, then gastrointestinal pH, retard at a low stomach pH and promote at a high stomach pH, and it is mostly dependent on a pH partition hypothesis. Then electrolytes and osmotic pressure. Water, isotonic solutions and solutions of low salt concentration empty rapidly, whereas high electrolyte concentration decreases the gastric emptying. High electrolyte concentration decreases gastric emptying. Okay, then next, body posture. Means body posture, when we are taking a drug and sometimes it will increases the emptying rate. The example is that standing. Okay, when we are taking a drug and we are working in a standing condition, then there is a increasing emptying rate. Okay, and if you are lying on the right side of our body, okay, if we are lie on the right side of our body, then also there is a increasing in emptying rate. Then retard emptying rate, means it will retard when we sit in a supine position or lying on the left side, supine position and lying on a left side, then it will retard the emptying rate. Then emotional state. Okay, what are the emotional state? That is stress and anxiety promote the gastric motility. If you are having a stress, if you are having anxiety, in that case it will promote the gastric motility. Okay, whereas depression retards it, and in case of depression it will retard. Okay, then exercise, vigorous physical training retard the gastric emptying. Okay, physical training will retard the gastric emptying. Then drugs, sometimes whatever the drugs we are taking, that will also alter our gastric emptying. The drugs that retard the gastric emptyings includes poorly soluble antacids like aluminum hydroxide, or we can also call it as the local antacids. Okay, then anticholinergics like atropine, narcotic analgesic like morphine. Okay, and then tricyclic antidepressant like imipramine. Okay, these drugs will retard the gastric emptying. Okay, then drugs that stimulate the gastric empties, the examples are metoclopramide, domperidone and cisapride. Okay, these are the drugs that will promote the gastric emptying. Then disease state, last factor I think so in a gastric emptying. Disease that retard the gastric emptying rate are gastroenteritis, gastric ulcers and pyloric stenosis. These are the diseases that will retard the gastric emptying, and diseases that promote the gastric emptying, partial or total gastrectomy. If you are doing a gastrectomy surgical procedure on a patient, that will promote the gastric emptying. Then duodenal ulcer and hyperthyroidism, that will increase the, or that will promote the gastric emptying rate. Then next factor, it is a intestinal transit time. Okay, since the small intestine is the major absorption site of most of drug, the long intestinal transit time is desirable for the complete drug absorption. Okay, it is the major site of absorption, all of you know that. Okay, and there are intestinal transit time, means how much time the drug will resides in your intestine. We can call it as a intestinal transit time. Okay, and the highest transit time or highest time that which your drug will remain in your intestine. Okay, now depending on the intestinal regions, transit time is different. Now firstly we will look towards the duodenum. Generally drug will remain in your duodenum for 5 minutes. Okay, after duodenum it will reach into the jejunum and it will resides there for 2 hours. Then from jejunum it will enter into ileum, it will resides there from 3 to 6 hours. Then from cacum, from ileum to it will reach to the cacum and it resides there for about half hour to 1 hour. And then colon, here it will reside for 6 to 12 hours. Means look, if you sum on this, we think that near about 18 hours, near about 19 to 20 hours our drug will resides in your only intestinal region. That is the reason the drug will available for absorption for more time in your intestine, and that's why absorption of drug in your intestine is more. And this is the gastric intestinal transit time. The resident time depends upon the intestinal mobility or concentration. Now when we delay transit time is desirable, if we need a delay in a transit time, when the drugs that dissolves or release slowly from their dosage form. If a drug is a sustained release, then the delay in transit time is desirable. If the drug that dissolves only in intestine, example is enteric coated, then we can say it is desirable. The drug absorbed from specific site in the intestine, several B vitamins, in that case also delay in a intestinal transit time is desirable. Then intestinal transit time affected by, it will affect by disease. Okay, decrease digestive secretion in case of pregnancy, retard the intestinal transit time, whereas diarrhea promote the intestinal transit time. Then drug like laxative and meclopramide promote the rate of intestinal transit time, and anticholinergics like atropine retard the gastric and intestinal transit, promote the absorption, and poorly soluble drugs. Then gastrointestinal pH. Okay, the GI pH generally increases as one. Hello. The GI pH generally increases as one moves down to the stomach, to the colon and rectum. The GI fluid pH influences the drug absorption in several ways. Okay, now how GI fluid pH influence the drug absorption in several ways. First is disintegration, sometimes pH dependent. Enteric coated formulation, coat dissolves only in intestine, follows a disintegration, that is the one of the example. Then dissolution, weak acidic drugs dissolves rapidly in alkaline pH of intestine, and weakly basic drug dissolves in acidic pH of stomach. That is we can say we have look it in a pH partition hypothesis. Then absorption depends on a pKa, whereas it's an acidic and basic. The GI pH influences the drug absorption by determining the amount of drug that would exist in a unionized form at the site of absorption. That we have explained in a previous lecture in a pH partition hypothesis. Then stability. Then the GI pH also affect chemical stability of drug. Acidic stomach pH affect the degradation of penicillin G, that is the example, and erythromycin, and it will leads to can be overcome by preparing prodrug of such a drug. Okay, how we can avoid this? We can prepare the prodrug. Example is a carindacillin and erythromycin istolate. Okay, these are the examples of stability that will alter due to the pH of GI. Then lastly, disease state. Okay, gastrointestinal diseases like Gastrointestinal diseases and infection, two of the intestinal disorders related with the malabsorption syndrome that influence the drug availability, and celiac disease, that is destruction of villi and microvilli, and Crohn's disease. Okay, that will affect the ultimately they will affect your GI tract, and ultimately they will affect the absorption. In Crohn's disease, that alter the absorption pattern are altered gut wall microbial flora and decreases the gut surface area and intestinal transit time. In Crohn's disease, there is a decrease in a gut surface area of gut will get decreases, and ultimately it will alter the intestinal transit time. GI infection like shigellosis, gastroenteritis, cholera, and food poisoning also result in a malabsorption. Okay, these are the disease state, generally gastrointestinal disease. Okay, then gastrointestinal surgeries will also alter your rate of absorption. That is, gastrectomy can result in a drug dumping in the intestine and osmotic diarrhea and reduces the intestinal transit time. Cardiovascular diseases, several cardiovascular diseases like cardiac failure influence the viability of drug. Example, in case of edema of intestine, decrease in GIT flow rate, and ultimately it will affect your rate of absorption. Okay, then hepatic diseases will also have impact on your absorption. Disorders such as hepatic cirrhosis influence the viability of a drug that undergo considerably first pass effect metabolism. Example is a propranolol. Means propranolol will get absorbed higherly if the person is suffer from the hepatic diseases. Then blood flow through GIT. The GIT is extensively supplied blood capillary network and the lymphatic system. Most drugs reach the systemic circulation via blood. Okay, the few drugs, that is low molecular weight lipid soluble, removed by the lymphatic system. Okay, then high perfusion rate of GIT helps in a mainly maintaining a sink conditions. Means high perfusion rate means what? High blood flow to the GIT. If your blood flow to the GIT is higher, ultimately maintaining of sink condition will be possible and your drug will get betterly absorbed. GIT perfusion rate increases after meal but not affect the drug absorption significantly. Okay, then GI content means whatever we are taking with our drug, that will ultimately go on affecting our drug absorption. We can call it as a GI content. In that, first, if you are taking a drug with our food, there might be a chances of food drug interaction present. These interaction in below table you can observe. If you are taking a drugs with a food, sometimes its rate of absorption will get delayed, sometimes it will get decreased, sometimes it will get increased, and sometimes it will remain unaffected. Okay, the drugs which will we are administered with a food and their absorption will get delayed. The examples is paracetamol, aspirin, and diclofenac, generally NSAIDs. Then the drug whose absorption will go on decreasing with the food, that is penicillin, erythromycin, and ethanol. Then drug whose absorption will go on increasing with the food, their absorption is a grisofulvin, nitrofurantoin, and diazepam. And some drugs whose absorption is unaffected with the food, that is methyl dopa, propyl thiouracil, and sulfosumidine. Okay, the food affect the drug absorption by alteration in GI emptying rate, fluid secretion, pH, and blood flow rate. That is the reason why food will alter the absorption. And or physiochemical interaction with a drug, alteration in a dissolution profile, complexation, and absorption. Means either food will alter the dissolution profile or food may form the complex with your drug, and food may absorb your drug over the surface. Okay, then fluid volume. Okay, administration of drug with a large fluid volume results in a better dissolution rate, rapid gastric emptying, and enhanced absorption. Example, erythromycin taken with a glass of water under fasting condition, it will initially higher the fluid, higher will be the rate of absorption. Okay, then interaction of drug with a normal GI constituent, means whatever the GI present, generally the GI contents are mucin, bile salts, and enzymes. Okay, the interaction of your drug with this normal GI constituent, mucin is a protective mucopolysaccharide that lines the GI mucosa interacts with streptomycin. Okay, mucin interacts with streptomycin and certain quaternary ammonium compounds and retard their absorption. Okay, mucin will generally retard the absorption of streptomycin. Then bile salt acid solubilization aids solubilization and absorption of lipophilic drugs like grisofulvin and vitamin A, D, E, K. That is water insoluble or lipid soluble vitamin, we can call it as a. Bile salt decreases the absorption of neo and kanamycin, forming a water insoluble complex. Okay, neokanamycin, in that case the bile salt will decrease the absorption by forming a complexation with kanamycin. Okay, now next factor is drug-drug interaction. Previous was a drug-food interaction. If you are taking two drugs together, in that case also there is a alteration in absorption. Okay, now physicochemical interaction are due to absorption. Antidiarrheal preparations containing adsorbent like kaolin pectin retard the absorption of number of drugs co-administered with them. Okay, means if you are taking antidiarrheal preparations like a kaolin pectin, okay, in that case the absorption of promazine and lincomycin will go on decreasing. Then there is a complexation. Okay, unabsorbable complexes are formed. Example, antacids or mineral substances containing heavy metals such as aluminium, calcium, magnesium retard the absorption of tetracycline. Okay, means they will retard the absorption of tetracycline. Whenever we are taking antacids containing aluminium, magnesium or calcium and administer it with a tetracycline, they will form a irreversible complex with a tetracycline and the complex will remain unabsorbed. That is the reason why mostly we are avoiding giving a tetracycline with calcium containing drug, or also we can say that antacids, mostly antacids contain the calciums. Then physiological interactions are due to decrease in GI transit like anticholinergic, that also we have seen in previous slides, that is propathelin retard the GI motility and promote the absorption of drugs like ranitidine and digoxin and delay the absorption of paracetamol, sulfathioxole. We have seen this in a previous slide. Then increased gastric emptying, that is also metoclopramide promote the GI motility and enhance the absorption of tetracycline and levodopa. Means whenever we are taking metoclopramide with tetracycline and levodopa, ultimately tetracycline and levodopa absorption will go on increases as it will promote the GI motility. Then last factor, that is pre-systemic metabolism. We also called it as a first pass effect. Okay, means why we called it as a pre-systemic? Pre and systemic. Pre means before going into the systemic circulation, drug has to pass through your liver. Okay, and it will get metabolized, and due to that also there is a absorption will go on decreasing. Okay, for the drug administered orally, the main two reasons for its decreased viability are decreased absorption first, and second, first pass metabolism, or we also called it as a pre-systemic metabolism. The loss of drug through biotransformation or metabolism by such eliminating organ during its passage to the systemic circulation called as a first pass or pre-systemic metabolism. The primary system which affect the pre-systemic metabolisms are generally it is available primary system that will affect the metabolism. Generally the four different types of enzymes, that is luminal enzyme, gut wall enzyme, bacterial enzyme, and lastly hepatic enzymes. Okay, these are the four types of enzyme present in our GIT as well as liver that will metabolize your drug before it will go into a systemic circulation, and ultimately it will alter the GI pH. Okay, now firstly we will look towards the luminal enzyme. These are present in a gut fluid and influence the enzyme from intestinal and pancreatic secretion. Latter contains the hydrolase which hydrolyze the drug ester. Okay, example is chloramphenicol, means lumen, GI lumen. In GI lumen, chloramphenicol palmitate. Okay, it is active chloramphenicol and which splits the amides linkage and inactivate the protein. Okay, means whatever the luminal enzymes are there, they will we can say split the amide linkage in your chloramphenicol and make it inactive. Second, gut wall enzymes, now also called as the mucosal enzymes, means whatever the gut wall after mucus, if when drug will reach to your gut wall or stomach, present in the stomach, intestine and colon, the alcohol dehydrogenase, this is the enzyme present in a gut wall, enzyme of stomach mucosa inactivates the ethanol, means your alcohol will get inactivated by alcohol dehydrogenase in a stomach mucosa or intestinal mucosa. Then intestinal mucosa contains both phase 1 and phase 2 enzymes, that is sulfonation and ethinyl estradiol. Okay, then colonic mucosa also contains both phase 1 and phase 2 enzymes. What is phase 1, phase 2? That will completely learn in our metabolism topic. Okay, then bacterial enzymes, these are generally present in a colon. Okay, colon of our intestine. In that, these bacterial enzymes produced by the whatever bacterial flora present in our colon, and that will leads to the inactivation of drug. Example is sulfasalazine, generally undergoes the hydroxylation reaction and sulfapyridine, and it will leads to formation of sulfapyridine and 5-amino salicylic acid. Okay, generally this used in a drug in ulcerative colitis. Bacterial enzyme, you can observe these enzymes only in a colon, because microflora of colon is highest, so that bacterial enzymes in a colon region will be higher. And lastly, hepatic, several drugs undergo first part metabolism, the highly extracted ones being propranolol, nitroglycerin, diltiazem, lignocaine and morphine. These will rapidly undergo the hepatic degradation by hepatic enzymes. Okay, this is all about the various factors that will affect the drug absorption. Now these are the various references book for your further study. That is, first, all of you know that Brahmankar and Jaiswal, you can use that book. Then Shargil, that is also important book of applied biopharmaceutics and pharmacokinetics. Then Alton, some part of this is also available in Alton also.